Imagine a quiet village where nothing unusual ever happens. Then one morning, three little girls step into the sunlight. Identical faces, eyes sharp like they've lived 1,000 lives, and clothes that blaze red from head to toe. Red beads, red wrappers, red scarves, red that seemed to burn against the calm earth around them. At first, people whispered, maybe it's just fashion. Maybe their mother loves the color. But as days turned to weeks and weeks into years, the triplets never wore anything else but red. Soon, the whispers turned to fear. Some said they were cursed, others swore they were spirits walking among humans. But the truth of the truth was something far deeper, a secret their mother carried in silence. And if only the villagers knew, they would never look at red the same way again. If stories like this intrigue you, go ahead and tap that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who loves African folktales. It helps us keep these timeless stories alive and brings you more powerful tales every week. The first time Blessing stepped out with her daughters, the world seemed to pause. Three girls identical in face, identical in step, identical in silence. Their skin glowed smooth like polished stone. Their eyes watched the world with a depth that unsettled even grown men. And their clothes. Their clothes blazed a red so bold it seemed almost alive. Red wrappers wrapped neatly around their waists. Red beads on their wrists. Red shoes that tapped against the ground like drums of a festival. Even their small scarves shimmered in crimson. At first, the people of Oama thought it was simply a choice. Perhaps the mother loves the color. Perhaps she thinks it makes them stand out. They chuckled, they whispered, and some even admired the unusual sight. But as days slipped into weeks and weeks hardened into months, and still those girls were never seen in anything but red, the murmurs grew darker. Is it fashion? Is it madness? Or something more dangerous? The market women would whisper, their hands pausing mid-wash at the stream. Some men laughed it off, yet crossed the street when the triplets approached. Children stared wide-eyed, not sure whether to fear or to envy them. And in every corner of the town, the same unspoken question lingered. Why red, always red? One hot afternoon, Mama Oama, the village's outspoken weaver, finally asked the question everyone else avoided. As Blessing washed clothes by the river, her three daughters perched quietly on a rock, their feet dangling in the water. Mama Oama's voice rang out. Blessing, is it that red has become uniform in your house? The river fell silent. Blessing looked up slowly. Her face carried no anger, no sadness, only a calm weight, the kind that makes even the boldest person hesitate. I do what I must, she said softly, and walked away with her daughters trailing behind like three quiet shadows. That answer only deepened the mystery. But what no one in Oama knew was that Blessing's story was carved from years of pain, rejection, and a secret whispered to her in the depth of the forest. Blessing had not always been a figure of mystery. Once, she was the most joyful bride in Oama. At 20, she had married Obina, a humble trader with laughter that filled the compound like music. Their early days were light with dreams of children running barefoot through the yard, dreams of laughter echoing under the mango tree. But as the years passed, silence replaced those dreams. 1 year became 2, 2 became 3, and still her womb carried no life. The whispers started quietly at first, but soon they grew sharp. Mother-in-law's words cut the deepest. 6 years in this house, not even a miscarriage. You have eaten all your eggs. Doctors said she was fine. Prophets prayed. Herbalists brewed potions. Still, her belly remained empty, and her husband's love slowly withered like a flame starved of air. The final blow came when another woman was brought into their home, and within months her belly swelled with child. That night, Blessing folded her clothes, lowered the wedding picture from the wall, and walked out into the night air. She did not cry, did not beg. She simply whispered, I will not stay where I am mocked, and never looked back. She returned to her father's house, where cracked walls remembered her childhood. It was here that her stepmother, Mama Nena, gave her advice Blessing had always rejected. Go to the forest, the old woman said. Doctors and prayers have failed. Go to someone who understands beyond the body. For years, Blessing had accused this woman of dark secrets, of being the reason her life had been broken. But that night, broken herself, Blessing finally listened. Deep in the forest of Ac, she met the herbalist, an old man, his eyes steady like a river that had seen many storms. He listened to her story without interruption. Then he reached for a leather pouch and drew out 3 white cowry shells strung into necklaces. He held them in his palm like fragile eggs. Your womb has been rejected by the world, he said. Blessing's breath caught. But then he added, not by spirits, by something greater. He placed the necklaces in her hand. The next time life enters you, tell no one. Not even your husband. Surround yourself with red. Red wrappers, red bed sheets, red plates, red candles. And when the children are born, they must wear red every day. Never remove these shells from their necks. Even in sleep, even in sickness, never. Blessing stared at him, her heart racing. Children, she whispered. The old man looked away. I said what I said. That night she returned home with the cowries hidden under her pillow. 2 moons later, her belly stirred with new life. This time she told no one. She bought red cloths, red blankets, red everything. And when the day came, the world shifted. Not 1 child, not 2, but 3 identical daughters were born under the dim glow of a candle. Their tiny bodies wrapped immediately in red, cowries tied gently around their necks. From that moment, their destiny was sealed. The red was not decoration, it was survival. A secret Blessing would carry in silence, even as the town mocked, even as her daughters grew into symbols of mystery and fear. For the people of Oama, the triplets were strange children who lived in red. But for Blessing, every thread of crimson was a shield between her daughters and the darkness she dared not name. The curse of red had begun. The triplets grew like 3 seeds from the same stalk, always together, always in red. In the compound, their laughter was sweet like bells. In school, they walked hand in hand, identical in face and in clothing, so alike that teachers often confused them. Yet one thing never changed. The red wrappers, the red beads, the red cowries that hung on their necks, glowing like quiet moons against their skin. People had many names for them, the Red Sisters, the Spirit Girls, the Blood Triplets. Some laughed nervously, others crossed the street when the 3 passed by, but the girls themselves, they grew used to it. They smiled, they studied, they dreamed like any other children. Yet deep down, questions began to stir. At night, as the lantern flickered low, one of them would whisper, "Mama, why must we always wear red?" And Blessing, their mother, would only answer with the same words, "When the time comes, you will know." For years, that answer was enough. But life doesn't wait. The first to feel the weight of the red was Favor, the eldest by minutes, brilliant and ambitious. She landed an interview at a major company in the city. She wore her neat red dress, her cowrie necklace polished. But at the entrance, the receptionist frowned. "Sorry, Ma, that necklace is not allowed. Dress code policy." Favor explained softly, "It's part of me. I've worn it all my life." But the rules were strict. The interview ended before it began. That evening, she returned home and buried her face in her pillow, tears soaking the red fabric. Her mother consoled her, yet still gave no explanation. Then came Nancy, the creative soul. She had painted for months, her art chosen for an international exhibition. This was her chance. On the day of the showcase, she wore red as always, her cowrie shining proudly. But among the foreign guests, whispers spread. To them, the red and the shells spoke of funerals, of death. An organizer pulled her aside and quietly removed her name from the list. Nancy didn't come home that night. She sat by the river under the moonlight, her hands trembling. Why always red? Why this necklace? She felt caged, a prisoner of a mystery her mother refused to share. And then there was Amaraki, the softest of the 3, the one whose laughter carried furthest. She fell in love with Kofi, a gentle Ghanaian boy with dreams as big as hers. He adored her smile, her kindness, everything about her, except the mystery she carried. One night as they walked home, he finally asked Amarachi, "Why always read Why the Shell? If we're serious about a future, maybe it's time to let it go." That night she lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Her mother's words echoed, "When the time comes," but when was the time? And what if the time never came? The next morning, Amarachi opened a drawer and pulled out a hidden dress, a simple navy blue gown she had bought years earlier. It's just in case. For the first time, she removed the cowry from her neck. The weight she had carried since birth was gone. Her skin felt lighter, freer. She twirled before the mirror and whispered, "So this is freedom." She stepped outside. One step, two. By the 10th, her knees buckled. Her body shook violently. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Neighbors screamed. Some ran for water, others for her sisters. Within minutes, Amaraki lay still, eyes rolled back, her breath shallow. The hospital lights were bright, but the air was heavy with dread. Doctors checked, nurses hurried, machines beeped. Yet test after test revealed nothing. "Her body is fine," one doctor whispered, "but something is pulling her away." Favor and Nancy rushed in, their eyes red, their voices breaking. "What happened to our sister?" But their mother stood silently at Amaraki's bedside, her face carved from stone. Moments later, the beeping slowed. The line on the monitor flattened. One long final sound filled the room. Amaraki was gone. The sisters wailed, collapsing to the floor, but Blessing did not cry. She looked at her daughter's peaceful face and whispered words that cut deeper than grief itself. "You're free now." Favor turned on her, furious. "Free, Mama? What do you mean free? We just lost her." Blessing's voice was low, steady. "The herbalist told me long ago that one of you would be the gate, the first to break the chain. She would pay with her life, but by her sacrifice, the others would be freed." Silence swallowed the room. Nancy clutched her cowry, trembling. Favor's tears fell hot against her cheeks. They realized at once Amaraki had been the price. The funeral was heavy with silence. Red cloth covered Amaraki's body one last time before the earth claimed her. The sisters lowered their cowries into a wooden box, sealed forever, and placed it at the foot of their mother's bed. For the first time, their closets opened to colors other than red. Favor wore jeans and blouses. Nancy dyed her hair golden brown. Life moved on, but the scar of Amaraki's death never faded. Every year, on the day of her passing, they dressed once more in red. Not as a curse, not as a burden, but as a remembrance for the sister who had broken the chain and given them freedom. And so, in the village of Oama, people finally stopped whispering. They no longer mocked, no longer feared. They understood, too late, that the red was never vanity. It had always been survival. It became a quiet legend, a tale of love, sacrifice, and the price of freedom. A reminder that sometimes what the world mocks in ignorance is the very thing keeping life itself alive. The curse of red was broken, but its memory lived forever. And so, dear listener, the mystery of the triplets was never about fashion, never about pride, but about survival and sacrifice. What seemed strange to the world was, in truth, a shield, a bond stronger than anything the eye could see. Amarachi's choice cost her life, yet it gave her sisters freedom. It makes you wonder, how many secrets do we judge too quickly? How many stories lie hidden behind the things we don't understand? If this tale touched your heart, let it remind you that not all burdens are curses. Sometimes they are the silent protection of love. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of Africa's unforgettable tales. If you felt something while listening, please like this video, share it with someone who loves powerful stories, and subscribe for more African recitals, because our heritage is rich with lessons the world still needs to hear. Until next time, keep your heart open and never stop listening to the whispers of the old stories.